From Can't Help Falling in Love to Burning Love. From the Catfish incident to Armed and Dangerous. Elvis Presley shook the rock and roll world. Good evening and welcome back to the Elvis Presley Memorial Museum. I'm Emma Vodicka and I'll be your tour guide tonight. As we travel through the museum, we will visit the past of Elvis Presley's life. As we will see a long and very much needed timeline of Elvis Presley's life. Our first stop on our timeline will be the Elvis Presley's life before fame and fortune. Our next stop will be the high rise to fame for Mr. Presley. And of course, our last stop will be the one day that shook the nation, the one and only day that we lost the king of rock and roll. Let's get this tour started. Elvis Aaron Presley, simply known as Presley, Elvis, was brought into this world on January 8th, 1935. When Elvis was born, he was supposed to be a twin, but sadly his brother Jesse Garon Presley died at birth. He would be the only child of a small family of three that consisted of his father Vernon Presley and his mother Gladys Presley. At the young age of 3, Elvis Presley would become the man of the house. His father would be taken to Parchman Farms for a Mississippi penitentiary for altering a $4 check. This would result in Elvis and his mother losing their house in Mississippi and moving in with relatives. Once Vernon Presley was released from Parchman Farms, it would be a long journey for the Presley family. From trying to support themselves to also supporting Mr. Presley's mother. This would result in the Presley family having to move from place to place. The only constant thing in the Presley family's lives would be church. They attended Assembly of God on Sundays, and this was where music started to become a big attraction to Elvis. As Elvis grew up, he would become very devoted to his family, especially his mother, from the most important woman in his life to the most influential and encouraging at a young age, according to ElvisPresleyNews.com. Once Elvis reached his high school years, everything would change. He would be the newcomer to Humes High and would reinvent himself. He would stand out among the other students just by the way he dressed. He would rock the dress pants and a bolero jacket and sideburns. He would absorb the black blues and gospel music that he heard everywhere and would become a regular at the white and black gospel sings held downtown. As Elvis graduated from Humes High, he would explore the idea of singing professionally, which leads us to our next stop on our timeline, Rise to Fame. Elvis Presley's rise to fame would start at a young age. According to biographer Christine Wilson, Elvis, at the young age of 10, Elvis would stand on a chair at a microphone and sing Old Shep at the Mississippi Alabama Fair. He would win 5th place and receive a $5 check. While attending Humes High, he would also nervously sing with his guitar at the student talent show for the first time. He would have the most applause for the night and end up winning. Kids at his school didn't even know he sang, and this would just be the beginning. In 1935, 18-year-old Presley would walk down to Memphis recording studio, home to Sun Records, and run by Sam Phillips. On that day, he would cut his first record for $3.95. Sam Phillips said that he would call him, but he never did. In 1954, Elvis would walk back down to a Memphis recording studio and cut his second record, this time receiving a call from Marion Kiesker, Sam Phillips' receptionist. This would start the long journey of the music career for Elvis, starting with guitarist Scotty Moore and bassist Bill Black. When the debut of That's All Right in Blue Moon of Kentucky was released, a national phenomenon was born. In 1954, it would be a big year for Elvis and his band. from starring on Louisiana Hayride, and it would also be their first concert. In 1956, Elvis would sign with RCA Records. In 1956, Elvis would star on high television shows and attract millions of viewers. In 1959, Elvis couldn't help falling in love with Priscilla in Germany. She would eventually move to the United States and they would start a life together. Throughout the 1960s, Elvis would record and sell several records such as Hound Dog and Jailhouse Rock. And Elvis would also start his movie career. In 1964, he would star in his highest grossing movie ever. In 1977, sadly, would be Elvis's last concert, which leads us to our last and final stop on our timeline. Long live the king. Elvis, in his master bathroom in his estate in Graceland, Elvis Presley would be found having a hard time breathing by his girlfriend, Ginger Aldern. According to biography.com, at 2:33 p.m., a call would be made to the Memphis fire station. Knowing that many local ambulances had been to the mansion in the past due to fainting fans and pedestrians being hit in the busy streets of Graceland, they didn't know what to expect. Elvis would be found skin dark blue and cold to the touch. Paramedics wouldn't be able to find a heartbeat, and he would be rushed to the hospital. While Elvis was being put on the ambulance, his doctor would hop on at the last minute, directing them to Baptist Memorial Hospital, 21 minutes away from the mansion. Elvis would be declared at 3:30 p.m. Elvis would be declared dead. News headlines would read, Elvis is dead. Elvis dies at age 42, and Elvis dies of a heart attack. Dr. Francisco, a medical examiner, would release the findings that Elvis died of a heart attack, but that wouldn't be the whole truth. The nation would believe that Elvis died of a heart attack, but weeks later find out the truth. Elvis Presley would be found with several doses of different painkillers in his system, which would lead to an overdose. This would result in Elvis losing several fans due to the newfound discovery, but there would always be the fans that stuck by him. Elvis Presley would always be remembered as a king of rock and roll and a big influencer in the rock and roll world. From Hound Dog to Jailhouse Rock, Elvis Presley was one of the most influential rock and roll artists in the 1950s, from influencing the Beatles to Cliff Richard. I hope you had a good time visiting the past of Elvis Presley. I hope you took pictures of the exhibits that we visited, such as the Elvis Presley's life before fame and fortune, his rise to fame, and of course, his death. Enjoy the rest of your night, and before you leave the building, as the king himself might say, baby, I hope you can come back and learn more. Thank you.